People with cats, people are like going to be watching this being like, Simon is just a cat. No one gives a about cats. Let's kill them all. And now it's like a dog. How dare they? This is outrageous. Oh, I just dented my lamp like full on. Today's video is brought to you by Sheath Underwear. Yes! Welcome back to another brand new episode of Brain Blaze. Yes, this channel used to be called Business Blaze, and then through like some bizarre situation, I'm not sure how it occurred, the next 10 videos after the renaming of the channel from Business Blaze to Brain Blaze, all the videos were about business. And everyone was like, Simon, is this some giant troll that you're doing? And I'm like, no, it's really not. It's just a coincidence, and I'm not very good at my job. So that's what's going on. Welcome back. This one, though, we are breaking away from the business content that this channel has, you know, that made it famous. To be honest, that's why this channel works, because of all the sensible, thoughtful, insightful business content that honestly just makes you a better businessman or woman or child.
Why the fuck you lying?
This is all about the TSA, which I think stands for like Transport Services Authority or Transport Safety Authority, something like that. Look, it's the American people who are in the airport and they're like, you know, you're getting up to, you know, don't bring guns on planes, those sort of people. I can't remember this. I came up with this idea weeks ago, but there was, I think maybe it was a Reddit subthread, a subreddit, or like some top 10 article that I saw somewhere about like all the craziest shit that goes down. And I was like, Daddy, there's some crazy shit going on in America. And he was like, Simon, I know it's America. And I'm like, yeah, but the TSA specifically, write me something up. And he did. Oh my God, this is the longest intro to Danny's intro ever. Let's go. Good news, you're going to Colombia. Finally! I can meet my supplier of coffee. The people who supply my coffee. I don't know what you were thinking, but you were wrong.
FBI, open up!
You're planning to visit the Salt Cathedral of Zipaquira to go trekking across the Cocora Valley and take a mud bath at Tutumo Volcano. Yeah, that's what we're doing in Colombia. And we'll be trying all of the coffee. Coffee.
Great job.
At least that's what you're told your family to be doing. It's only when you arrive at JFK Airport and prepare to submit your carry-on luggage to the scrutiny of the X-ray machines and the mercy of the Transportation Security Administration. Oh, there we go. That's what it stands for. At least I got two right. What did I say? Safety? That you're consumed by last-minute panic. You're suddenly struck by a feeling that something in luggage is destined to trigger an alarm and cause a potentially long-winded delay. Wait, is this on the way back from Colombia or on the way to Colombia? Because on the way back, I mean that's going to be a long delay. When they discover that I assume Danny's saying, you know, he's making a joke about smuggling cocaine. That's going to be a long-ass delay because you're going to spend the rest of your life in prison. I remember I went to Mexico and I bought some Cuban cigars. And I was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to take these back to the UK where they are 100% legal. And I had a stopover in Dallas, Fort Worth Airport. And I was like, that's fine. The bags don't leave the plane. And then I get to Dallas, Fort Worth, and they're like, oh yeah, no, this is America. You have to get all your baggage, collect it, and go through security again. And I was like, oh my God. And I had like, it was at least 20 or 30 like fat Cuban cigars in my bag. And I was like, well, I could throw them away, or I could just hope. What's the worst that could happen? They could get confiscated and you could go to prison. But fortunately, that didn't happen, and I just cruised right through with my definitely illegal Cuban cigars. I mean, allegedly. I never did this. What's the statute of limitations on smuggling Cuban cigars? I'm not particularly worried, but let's just say that it wasn't me, and it was a friend of mine who told me this story, and I've retold it in the first person for dramatic effect. You need to get rid of the offending item quick. There are only actually 3 different items in your carry-on luggage. A charming snow globe, a live lobster called Derek, and a massive tattoo gun. Wait, are all of these going to be illegal? Or is Daddy going to make us pick one? Because I'm guessing you can't travel with lobsters. And also maybe tattoo guns for some reason. God knows what you were planning to do once you arrived in Colombia. Oh, we're going to Colombia. Well, that makes things a little bit... Why are you taking all this stuff to Colombia? What is going on?
Because I'm a madman!
But which of the 3 items do you need to ditch to avoid delay? It's the lobster, because it carries diseases, yes. Well, you're probably better off ditching the dirty snow globe. Oh. The TSA have taken time to put together a long list of unusual items which they've deemed perfectly acceptable to take with you on a flight. Live fish and live lobsters are usually okay as long as you transport them in a clear plastic bag and show them to the TSA officer separately rather than just cramming them into your suitcase. Those lobsters going through that x-ray. Just like whoop, 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 whoop. It's like, what are they doing in there? Why do you have live lobsters in your bag? That's a crazy situation. Tattoo guns are also good to go, but it's tattoo ink that you might end up struggling with, and you would encounter the same problem with the snow globe, which is likely to violate the TSA's 311 rule. Any liquids in of course, because there's liquid in the snow globe. Any liquids in your carry-on luggage must fit inside a container weighing no more than 3.4 ounces. I have no idea how much that is. What's the limit? It's like 50 mils or something, isn't it? And placed inside one clear quart. Oh my god, it's been so long since I've traveled anywhere by plane that I've literally forgotten what the... I mean, it's like, before, I'd be on planes like many times a year and you're like, yeah, okay. The number is burned into my mind, what you can take in your hand. Because I also, if I don't have to, I'll rarely check luggage, I'll just have a big carry-on. And I knew that number pretty precise. And now I don't even remember. That's so sad.
You want to get out of here?
Tattoo guns, oh, I read that already. Inside one clear quart-sized plastic bag. Danny, what are these witchcraft numbers that you're talking about? It's like, I of Newton, 1 quart of water. It's like, oh my god, what is a quart? Which you're only allowed 1 of. So unless you're carrying a super tiny Chinese snow globe that's more like a dinky Christmas decoration, you're going to have to get rid of it. Danny, why would the Chinese snow globe be smaller? I'm sure there's a joke, but it sounds vaguely racist, doesn't it? Are Chinese people just everything is smaller in China? Like everything's bigger in Texas? And to be frank, that sounds racist too. Against Texans. There are other surprise oddities to make the cut on the TSA list of permissible items. Deer antlers, waffle irons, both perfectly fine, as are bread makers, although ideally not the Theranos brand. Oh, what's her face? She's on trial right now. The biggest thing that I'm like watching, I'm like following this trial and seeing what's going on. And the biggest thing is like, she's been waiting for this for like, what, 5 years? When was Theranos? Feels like what? It's at least 5 years ago, right? I mean, it feels like it was back in the day. And she's been waiting for this forever. I'll be like, can't we get on with it? I want to know what my punishment is. Unless I have to spend the rest of my life in prison. In which case, I mean, let's just delay it as long as possible. But not knowing has got to be pretty intense, right? You're like, I don't know if I'm going to go to prison forever. She's probably not going to go to prison forever, right? But it does seem she's probably going to go to prison, allegedly. The TSA even a bit of fun. The TSA even a bit of fun. Why is that so hard to say? The TSA even have a bit of fun when they explain that lightsabers are acceptable too.
You are made of stupid.
They say, sadly, the technology doesn't currently exist to create a real lightsaber. However, you can pack a toy lightsaber in your carry-on or checked bag. May the force be with you. TSA. I love it when government bureaucrats try to be funny, and I have to say this is actually one of their better attempts. However, your carry-on luggage is likely to get flagged if you're trying to smuggle through anything as dangerous as peanut butter, or coffee beans, or sex toys. Put the sex toys in your checked luggage. Well, I guess if you don't have checked luggage, then that's a bit of a problem. It depends how long you're going away for. How long can you survive without your sex toys? Peanut butter is officially classed as a liquid regardless of whether it's crunchy or smooth, and so will fall foul of the 3-1 rule. Yeah, I always travel with, stick deodorant, which is like, it's not that common. But it's like, you get the ball one with a liquid, you get the spray-on one, which I think is also a liquid, and then you get the stick one, which is blatantly a solid. And I've traveled with this wherever I go, I take the stick deodorant, I've never had a problem. And one time my bag gets searched, and the security guy, it's not in America, it's Britain or somewhere in Europe. And I'm like, and he's like, well, this is over 25 mils or whatever it is. And I'm like, well, it's not a liquid, is it? And he's like, well, it was a liquid once. And I'm like, that's the logic we're gonna go by?
You are made of stupid.
It was a f***ing liquid once. Honestly, probably so was all of the metal here, on my laptop. That was also a liquid once, but it's not anymore, is it? What the f*** are you talking about? And then he was like, well, I'm taking it. And I was like, well, there's dick all I can do, isn't there? So, thanks, mate. Coffee beans often get investigated as they're a popular option for masking the smell of illegal drugs, and sex toys should be fine, but it's generally a good idea to remove the batteries first to avoid any accidental vibrations, which might arouse suspicion. Yeah, I was once on a flight, and my electric toothbrush is in my bag, and it just obviously gets pressed on by something and just starts vibrating like crazy. And I'm like, oh, it's just a toothbrush, please. I'm sorry. But it was like... I was once settled into a flight from Dubai International Airport when a stewardess suddenly approached my seat and barked at me to check my hand luggage because something was vibrating. Danny had exactly the same thing! Because something was violently vibrating in my bag on the luggage rack above. I'd forgotten to take the batteries out of my electric toothbrush. Mine was one of those chargeable ones, so you can't even take the batteries out. It doesn't even have like a safety lock. It's just like riding around and...
Weird flex, but okay.
And now I just travel with Oh yeah, I was like, what's the word for a non-electric toothbrush? It's a fucking toothbrush, you big brain. Like, what are you talking about? I just travel with a regular ass toothbrush because, you know, I can make do without my electric toothbrush for a few days. In fact, funnily enough, I don't even use an electric toothbrush now. I just use a regular ass toothbrush. But looking back now, it must have seemed a bit weird to the other sniggering passengers when I insisted on waving the toothbrush around for a good few minutes so everybody could see that it definitely wasn't a rampant rabbit vibrator. Is that a real name of a vibrator? I love it! Also, I was just like, don't draw attention to yourself, whistle boy. Number 1, animal instincts. Oh boy. That was an introduction and a half, wasn't it? I have no idea why I look at my watch. It's not like my watch has the amount of time I've been recording. And it's not like I'm organized enough to check it before I start, please.
You are made of stupid.
Number 1, animal instincts. It must sometimes be quite hard work for the TSA to navigate their way through the grey areas of what you can and can't take with you on a plane. Take, for example, a great big steaming bag of mouse poop. Where would the TSA stand on this? A guy from New York was traveling from Juneau. Maybe. Like the movie, but spelled differently. International Airport in Alaska in 2019 when a large organic mass in his carry-on luggage was spotted by the TSA. It was later revealed that the big bag of nuggets was in fact a big bag of mouse droppings, which apparently the political activist liked to collect and then randomly present to politicians that he disagreed with. Look, I mean, we've all got politicians we disagree with. There are politicians, like allegedly Nigel Farage. There's plenty. There's plenty of these utter bellends, but I don't, you know, just don't do the mouse dropping things. It's just don't vote for them and encourage other people not to vote for them.
Oh, poop.
At a push, I think we can assume that it was the very same guy who was spotted later that very same day at the Capitol building handing out free bags of mouse poop in some sort of bizarre protest against Governor Mike Dunleavy's proposed budget. What are you up to, mate? However, the TSA allowed the guy to take the mouse poop onto the plane, largely because there didn't yet appear to be anything in the rules and guidelines which stated that he couldn't. A spokesman noted, surely they have some discretion. There's going to be a line being like, and anything else that the TSA agent deems to be unsafe or unsanitary. Why not just write that in there? I know the law has to be specific, but I mean, it could be like, the first guy who has a ceramic knife or a plastic gun goes onto a plane and they're like, well, he looks like a terrorist, smells like a terrorist, has a plastic gun, but there is nothing in the rules that says plastic guns are forbidden. Off you go, mate, onto the plane.
No.
And I say, like, looks like a terrorist. Simon, don't be racial profiling. I'm like, you're having a laugh, right? I mean, racial profiling at airports absolutely 100% happens. A spokesman noted, when TSA has no policies that will prevent you from traveling with a bag of animal poo, we strongly suggest that you check with your airline on their policies. But although packing your luggage full of poop might not seem like a smart idea, it's still not quite as bad as shoving your pet cat or dog into the suitcase and hoping that nobody notices. I mean, look, isn't shoving cats in, like, you know, they don't want to go in places. I feel like that's a meme. That sounds like the kind of trick Florida man might try to pull, possibly accompanied by his partner in crime, Florida woman. And sure enough, in 2019, a young couple from, guess where, Tampa, Florida, found themselves in hot milk when an inspection at Erie. Is it really Erie? Woo! International Airport revealed a 6-month-old cat named Slim lurking in the luggage. He wasn't slim enough, was he, Danny? It's hard to figure out what exactly was going through the minds of Nicholas Larison and Olivia Sari when they decided to stick the cat inside a checked bag without food, water, or air. Look, we've decided long ago, Danny, that we don't try and decipher what goes on inside the minds of Florida people because they're Florida people. Also, a few years ago, there was this bizarre trend on YouTube of people putting themselves in crates and then sending themselves, like, around the world. And obviously, I'm pretty sure it was all fake, right? So it'd be like, yeah, guys, I'm about to get in this box and I'm going to mail myself to, I don't know, North Korea or something. Like, I don't know, North Korea or something. Like, yeah, man, now we're on the plane and I've got a bag of bread and I'm eating my bread. And it's like, what the are you up to? And why are people clicking on this? It's like, you know, you find these like holes of YouTube that you, not like holes, gaps, but like that you fall down. And you're like, oh my God, there's this whole side of YouTube that I didn't even know about. Family vloggers. What the You'll be like, you got 12 million subscribers and your is like full on like child exploitation crazy, not to name any names, but they're out there. And it's like, what the is going on? How is this allowed? As the mind boggles at how the packing process must have panned out, as I expect Slim wouldn't have been too keen on the idea. You can't blame him, as it's probable that he may not have survived the journey if he hadn't been sniffed out by the TSA. TSA heroes! I don't know why I sang that, but it feels like it could be the intro to a show called TSA Heroes. Thankfully, once the cat was out of the bag, Slim was taken to the Humane Society of Northwestern Pennsylvania, where he was put down. Not really, where he received proper care and attention from human beings with more than a couple of brain cells between them, whilst the Florida couple were charged with animal cruelty. Eric Bogle, the Director of Public Safety and Facilities at Erie International Airport, noted a poor decision was made on the customer's part. Well done, Eric. You really added to the conversation with that one.
You are made of stupid.
Whilst the internet may have been quick to condemn the Florida couple, a similar story involving a dog in a suitcase. Oh no! People with cats, people are like going to be watching this being like, Simon is just a cat. No one gives a about cats. Let's kill them all. And now it's like a dog. How dare they? This is outrageous! Oh, I just dented my lamp like full on. Oh no. John, are you okay? I have this new lamp here. I haven't decided where he's going to go in the set, but his name is John. Welcome to Business Blaze, John. For some reason it says 2012 inside your head here, but I really purchased this very recently. I feel like if it was from 2012, I should have got a discount. It's very last season. And by last season, I mean 10 years old. He's not plugged in. I don't know why I've given him a gender. Him. Welcome, John. I worry that we've now introduced a new character entirely accidentally into Business Blaze. I mean Brain Blaze. Thanks, John. Yeah, you're right.
Excuse me, what are you doing?
So there's a dog in a suitcase. It's 2015, and it appeared to get twisted into a quirky, heartwarming tale with a happy ending. A suitcase in a checked baggage area in LaGuardia Airport in New York suddenly triggered an unknown contents alarm, and the subsequent investigation revealed the unknown contents took the form of a little beige and tan chihuahua snuggled up inside the luggage. Maybe it'd be like, I don't know, this is happening in America. They'll be like, well, I took him to my dentist. I took him to my vet. And the vet was like, well, yeah, we need to give him an x-ray. It's going to be $400,000. And so they were just like, well, let's just book a flight. We'll run him through the x-ray machine at the airport and see if they can give us a printout. I mean, these are Florida. Is it Florida people? No, it's New York. So maybe they didn't do that because they're not from Florida. Although they are American.
Your intellect is as weak as your dollar. You disrespect yourself and your nation.
However, the owner of both the dog and the luggage later claimed that she hadn't been aware that her beloved dog was in the suitcase and explained that the pooch must have secretly climbed inside the luggage because she didn't want the owner to leave without her. Quite amazingly, the TSA bought this story and were happy to share details of the emotional reunion on their official Instagram feed, which often draws attention to unusual incidents in the wild world of the TSA. I'd be like, yeah, no, I don't know how that cocaine got in my bag. It found its own way in there, and the TSA be like, Simon, it doesn't have legs like a dog does. I heard the dog excuse worked, TSA. Oh, I'm gonna go to prison forever. They're also about, you shouldn't have been using the cocaine while going through the security checkpoint, whistle boy. But I can't help feeling more than a little suspicious about the whole stowaway dog story. For starters, I find it hard to believe that it's possible for a human to zip up a chihuahua into a suitcase without either party noticing what the hell was going on. But more importantly, if the dog was so beloved, then surely the owner would have been acutely aware of the chihuahua's whereabouts or situation before she left town to hop on a plane. Yeah, I mean, of course, because you've got to do something about your dog. This sounds like some weak-ass excuse. It's like, no, I don't know, I got in there. I was just really hoping to get away with it and not have to put my dog in one of those dog cages that go under the plane. And I don't know, once I had a go at people who take their dogs onto the plane with them. And I'm like, this is f***ing stupid. Get your dog out. Why? Get the fuck out of here. It's not supposed to be in it. I need it for emotional support. So don't f***ing fly. Sorry, why is that a controversial opinion that I don't want to be sat next to someone who's got a f***ing dog with them? I don't want that. I don't want that. And you shouldn't either. What the fuck's going on? What's going on? Yeah, she just wanted, this was probably before you could get your dog as like a emotional support animal.
Daddy, chill.
Still, probably not quite as weird as the man who successfully managed to enjoy a 10-hour flight in 2009 from Dubai to Melbourne with live pigeons stuffed around his trousers. I really my dude. It's not entirely clear what the 23-year-old man intended to do with the pigeons, or if he was aware that they don't generally need an airline ticket to get from D to M. Dubai to Melbourne. Very clever. Very clever. Yeah, I mean, but a jet does go a lot faster than a pigeon. I mean, a pigeon will, I guess it gets there eventually. Can a pigeon really fly from, like, that far? I mean, I know they're really good at locating. A friend of mine at school, his parents had, like, a birdhouse. And it was like a racist birdhouse because they only wanted the doves, like the white ones, and the regular pigeons would come, the grey ones, and they'd be like, oh, we don't want the grey pigeons, we just want the pure white pigeons. I mean, it's really strange, because, I mean, that's totally okay, because you could be racist against animals, I guess. It's totally okay. But they'd be like, they'd take the grey pigeons, which had nested in there, and they, you can't kill them or anything, and so they'd take them in the car. And then I remember once my friend was going to look at a university, like it was like 4 hours drive away or something. And so they put the pigeons in the car in a pigeon cage, and they took it all the way up like 4 hours drive. And then the same pigeons came back like a few days later. And it's like, oh yeah, pigeons, they're homing. And now the birdhouse is not Aryan again. Sake. It's a weird Aryan birdhouse. What a weird situation.
Always wash your berries before you eat them.
What the hell is even that?
Upon arriving in Australia, which has pretty strict quarantine laws on bringing foreign birds into the country, his bags were searched by an officer who discovered a vitamin container housing 2 bird eggs and a couple of undeclared samples of eggplants. What are you up to, mate? If not for this discovery, the officer would have felt the need to conduct a further search on the passenger's clothes, and would never have realized that the man was wearing tights and had shoved a live pigeon down each leg, protected only by a couple of padded envelopes. Dude, how long are those pigeons in there? What the f***?
They're birds. I trust them. I understand them. It's people I don't understand.
The man was arrested on the scene and faced a substantial fine for wildlife smuggling offences, but the pigeons survived unscathed and were let off with only a minor warning and misdemeanor criminal trespass. So, wait, did they kill... They had to kill the pigeons or send them back, right? Because you can't have them in Australia because they carry diseases, they can, like, screw up the local wildlife and all of that shit. I don't know. Probably not included here because it was like, yeah, they were gassed. They were immediately gassed. Actually, they froze them and they threw them into the jet engines because they were out of other birds. Do they really throw birds into jet engines? Now, before we continue with today's video, yes, it's time for a little bit of an interruption from today's glorious commercial sponsor, Sheath Underwear. And you might be thinking, why is this still in the bag, Simon? Haven't you been wearing the Sheath Underwear? Well, one, dear viewer, no, I would not do that to you. I wouldn't even show you my laundered underwear because that's just nasty. Also, apparently you guys buy a lot of Sheath. At least judging by the amount of free Sheath that Sheath have sent me. You might be wondering, what is Sheath? And why do you keep saying Sheath so much, Simon? Well, let me tell you. I just grabbed this off a giant stack of Sheath that I have now. It's basically replaced all of my underwear, and I still have spares, so thank you, Sheath. Look how fresh this is. Straight out of the packet. It even has a little card in here. Oh, I remember this. I always throw this away, but it's like, it explains people how to use Sheath if you've never used Sheath before. Because you might be saying, underwear doesn't need an explanation, Simon. Well, let me tell you about Sheath. Sheath. It does. Basically, it's one of those... Is this the wrong way around? Yeah, this is inside out. No. Yes. No. This is inside out. It's weird that it's packaged inside out, but here we go. Sheath is one of those concepts where, at least I was like, that's a bit weird, isn't it? But then you try it and you're like, well, it's still weird, but now I absolutely get it. What Sheath basically does is it stops your parts down below from sticking to each other and getting all sweaty. And well, I guess it does stop them from getting sweaty because they're not touching each other, but it also like just separates it and makes it just feel more comfortable. I am a boxer shorts man, typically, like briefs. I don't understand. Why would I want everything crunched together in one place? That's just weird. But obviously boxer shorts, on the other hand, with this jiggling around, it's not fantastic. With Sheath, what you do is you pop your, let's just be frank about it, you put your balls in here and you put your cock in here.
You what?
Easy. And the best thing about it, you might be thinking that sounds like an absolute nightmare when I'm going to have a pee. No, you just Slide your little ding-dong out the front there. Easy peasy.
You what?
It's all very comfortable, and I'm sure there are actually mandatory talking points, which I have to get to. Yes. Traditional boxer briefs are barbaric. Yeah, briefs are barbaric. Why would I? Like, I've got no problem with boxers. Like, boxers are okay. Like, I still sleep in boxers. But briefs, what are we up to, guys? Why? I don't understand. They call it an inverted kangaroo pouch. I guess that's a better way of putting it than like, yeah, you put your cock in this part. Well done, fact boy. They were invented by a US Army soldier who came up with the idea for sheath during his tour in Iraq, which apparently is quite warm. So he figured it out and he made it. It's brilliant. So click the link below and use the code BLAZE at checkout, or just go to sheathunderwear.com/blaze for 20% off. Add in something about doing your balls a favor because they'll thank you. Okay, you're doing your balls a favor and they will thank you. I mean, not literally, they don't talk. If your balls are talking, you've got bigger issues. Like, not physical issues, like mental health issues. If your balls are talking to you, it's... maybe get some help. Text overlay during the CTA. Pff, that's not my doing. Sam, get that text overlay. Yeah, again, let me just read that again. sheathunderwear.com/blaze. You get 20% off. Just, if you're not sure, just buy one. See how you like it. Gonna bet you probably like it. And then you'll come back for more. And then you'll probably get an entire pile of them. And all your underwear will... That's hard to say. No wonder it's not in the talking points. And all of your underwear will be replaced. And back to today's video. Hairy busts. We've mentioned before how some drug smugglers seem to entirely miss the point when it comes to discreetly hiding their illegal stash in something not likely to draw too much attention from the TSA. Oh wait, is this the... I feel... Didn't we cover this before about the bikers who were smuggling something and they put it in like gay lube or something? It sounds like, what's the difference between regular lube and gay lube? In 2019, a man from Colombia, big clue there, it's cocaine, was stopped at the George Bush International Airport. There's a George Bush? Oh, Intercontinental Airport. Okay. And questioned over why exactly he needed a whole 24 bottles of shampoo in his checked baggage. He could have... It could just be that he was particularly fussy over his morning hair hygiene ritual, but the canine sniffer dogs on duty that day revealed another fine strand to the story. The rolls of shampoo were actually filled with no less than $400,000 of liquid cocaine. Shit. To be fair, it might be considered quite smart in some ways to try and smuggle cocaine in liquid form. It's usually much harder to detect than powder and can be easily converted back into powder once you've landed at your destination and unpacked your toiletries. Had the Colombian passenger not gone overboard with 24 bottles of the stuff, it's possible that the sniffer dogs would have never been put into action and the liquid cocaine would have passed undetected by X-ray technology. I have to say, like, there was a guy I used to know back at school. I feel like we're digging into the past of my stories. And he went on a trip, I remember, like one year. Maybe it was I can't remember where he was going. It was definitely somewhere in Europe, like Spain or France or something. And he was a big time pot smoker. And he was like, yeah, I know, I just take my pot with me. And I'm like, through an app, and he's like, yeah. I just put it in a shampoo bottle, in a Ziploc bag. And I'm like, bro.
I mean, I don't smell anything. I mean, I don't smell anything.
Are you insane? I'm like, all I know about smuggling drugs is that they'll kill you. They'll definitely kill you. I mean, that's probably just like the Middle East and Asia. But there's gonna be punishments for smuggling drugs, right? Even if it's small for personal use, even within Europe. They're not gonna be happy about you smuggling drugs. It's like, bro, just buy some weed when you're there. I mean, you're clearly expert at it. You've bought weed all your life.
Well, too bad it wasn't meth. They just could have had you come down and sniff it out, huh, Kathy?
Eat shit, Randall. I'm in recovery.
As it turns out, the passenger was sent straight back to Colombia, whilst the liquid cocaine was turned over to the Houston Police Department. As for the dogs who helped pull off this drug-busting scout, they were each given a little biscuit. Hardly seems fair, does it? Well, it does, Danny, because they're dogs and they have no need for fungible currency. The Colombian guy might have been better off hiding his disco medication in something a bit more inconspicuous, like a great big microwave, or maybe not, as somebody else already tried that, holy shit. In 2018, some silly sod shoved a microwave into his checked baggage at the Ted Stevens Anchorage International Airport in Alaska. Oh my god, that is a long-ass name for an airport. And it's perhaps not surprising that the TSA fancied having a quick look inside to see what he was cooking. And there was no sign of any strawberry Pop-Tarts or chicken bacon ranch Hot Pockets. Just an absolutely massive bag of weed. Yes! I'm not really sure why the guy was convinced that his stash would slip undetected if he put it inside a microwave, unless he was already half-baked when he came up with the cunning ruse. On the TSA Instagram account, the organization revealed, "We're not looking for drugs, but when discovered, our officers must notify the police." Wait, you're not looking for drugs? Oh, because you're safety and security. It's about guns and about drugs. Oh, I thought, so why? Oh, the sniffer dogs are for. Wait, hang on. No, that doesn't make sense. The sniffer dogs are for bombs. There are specific dogs for specific tasks. Like, they don't have the multiple dog. One does bombs, one does cocaine and other drugs and stuff. Simple. So it's not like they're accidentally discovering drugs, so then why are the sniffer dogs looking for drugs if they're not looking for drugs? This is all very confusing. I find it quite intriguing that the TSA admits they're not even looking for drugs. This must be at least slightly encouraging news for drug smugglers of the future. The TSA seems more interested in dishing up practical advice on microwaves. On the same Instagram post, they point out the toast setting is located between the baked potato and pizza buttons. I'm getting tired of doing that because there's a lot today. Strange cargo. Airport security may have to put up with argumentative and unruly passengers from time to time, but you'd think that they'd consider a passenger to be fairly no maintenance if he was trying to check in after it died. Alas, the strict guidelines insist that a passenger must be still alive before boarding a flight. In 2010, a trio of passengers travelling from Liverpool to Berlin fell foul of the guidelines when airline staff could help but notice one of their party was a little bit dead. It's not COVID, don't worry. 91-year-old Kurt Willie Jarrett, known simply as Willie, was checking in with his wife, Geeta, and his stepdaughter, Anke Anusik. Oh my god. All of whom were British citizens planning a visit to their native Germany. Willie was sitting in a wheelchair and rocking cool shades. He seemed like a quiet chap who liked to keep himself to himself. In fact, he was very quiet. Looking a bit pale, because transporting a body is going to be way more expensive than just, shuffling him on a Ryanair flight. Airline staff soon realised that he wasn't even breathing, and following an attempt from a first aid team, Willie was pronounced dead, which therefore made him illegal cargo. Wait, so I don't know, did he die at the airport? It sounds more like they wheeled him in there, hoping no one would notice. The first aid team's like, give him CPR, and the wife's like, he's been dead for 3 days, so we just put him in the fridge to keep him cool so he didn't smell. Also, really big fridge. At this point, suspicion fell on Geeta and Anke Anusik, who were initially accused of failing to report a death and trying to smuggle a corpse onto a flight. Wife Geeta claimed that she'd thought Willie had taken a little snooze, and he had actually been quite chatty on the taxi ride to Liverpool John Lennon Airport. There's an airport called John Lennon Airport in Liverpool? Damn. She probably didn't help to deflect any suspicion when she felt the need to claim, "I did not kill my Willie." Okay. Like, I feel like when most people, someone they know dies, you don't need to say I didn't kill him. I mean, you definitely don't need to say that if you killed them.
You are made of stupid.
Wait, did she actually murder him? But a few UK newspapers, including The Telegraph and The Independent, were later forced to apologise after running with the slightly judgmental headlines such as "Women attempt to get on plane with a corpse." Following their arrest, why did they have to apologise? Women attempt to get on plane with a corpse. Am I missing something, or is that just factually correct? The women attempted to get on a plane with a corpse. How is that judgmental? It's just... What am I missing? Am I not woke enough? Following their arrest, Geeta and Anke Anusik were eventually released without charge when the police were satisfied that Willie had indeed still been alive on the journey to the airport, but had quietly passed away as the trio were approaching the check-in desk. It turns out that Willie was actually a former pilot himself, so he really had no excuse for this flagrant disregard for the rules. In sharp contrast to Willie's quiet departure, another passenger caused a positive cacophony when she attempted to make her way through the metal detectors at Athens Airport in 2012. The woman who was travelling to London set the metal detectors into a manic beeping overdrive as she was scanned, leading staff and fellow passengers to ponder if she was wearing an entire suit of armour. Under her clothing, in fact, she was wearing something that you might not generally be expected to see in an airport in 2012, a steel chastity belt. Look, people are into all sorts of different stuff. I don't want to kink shame, but if you're going to the airport, maybe just take it off before security, pack it in the hold luggage that doesn't get scanned with you, and then put it back on when you collect your baggage at the other side. I think that's, just to avoid this situation, which, no kink shaming is going to be uncomfortable. More commonly associated with the 19th century, when they were worn by women to dissuade them from sexual temptation and also used as rape shields to protect working women from their male colleagues, they're more likely to be used these days in kinky BDSM sex play. Yes, yeah, I'd say that's probably 99% of the usage. But the woman has a quite literally alarming explanation for why she was wearing one for a trip to London. She claimed that her husband had forced her to wear the chastity belt as a guarantee of her fidelity while she was on holiday. Holy shit, dude. What the f***? Some have suggested that there might be more to the story, and the woman just thought that this was a slightly less embarrassing explanation than the saucier truth. No, it's not. Just being like, I'm into this. I say like no kink shaming. It's like, if you're into that, it's literally fine. Cool. Like, personally me, not for me. But if you're into it, fantastic. Like, good for you. Go for it. If that was me, I'd be like, yeah, this is what I'm into. All right? No problems here. But sadly, I'm not so sure if she was wearing the steel chastity belt through her own choice. You would expect her to have the key in her possession, but she claims that her husband had kept hold of the key, so she was unable to remove the belt to get past the metal detectors. Still, the airline... Yeah, but what I'm saying, I don't think she would have the key. I'm saying that maybe she's wearing it her husband's not worried about her fidelity or whatever. It's just part of their thing. It could be. The airline still kindly allowed the woman to board the flight on the pilot's responsibility, and one user on Reddit suggested a potential positive outcome to the story, which wouldn't have made the husband very happy. Joke's on him. The friend she was visiting was an amateur locksmith. Weak. Emotional support animals.
I don't like where this is going.
Considering the strict list of items you're not usually allowed to take on a flight with you, snow globes, cocaine, dead relatives, etc., it's surprising how many of the rules are thrown right out of the window at an altitude of 40,000 feet when it comes to the subject of emotional support animals. Oh my god, is it? It's so crazy. I've only had this once, when I was in the US, and there was just a woman on my plane, and she just had this little... It was like a little small dog, just with her. And I'm like, why? What's going on? If you need emotional support, or you get anxious on a plane, they invented Xanax for a reason. Come on. It's a lovely, if controversial idea. Medics and airlines recognize that people with disabilities or anxieties can benefit from traveling with their own choice of animal beside them to offer support and comfort and therapy over the course of the journey. And it's not too surprising that most people who qualify decide to travel with something like a dog or a cat in tow without any need to try and sneakily shove the animal into a suitcase or a microwave. And to be fair, I think my argument more here is about the apparent ease, I don't know how easy it is to get, but the apparent ease of being able to get one of these things. It's like, what's that Entourage episode where they're, and this is all I know about weed in California before it was totally illegal. You just go to some doctor and be like, yeah, feeling a bit anxious, and he's like, okay, here's your weed card, boom. And now you can just go to the weed shop. And I'm like, it's crazy. But I hear now that it might be a bit like this for animals on planes, so I don't like that.
Really?
No.
Really?
Swear to God.
But it's not just dogs and cats. Over the past few years, some flights have evolved into a sky zoo or a menagerie of the bizarre. What's that? It's my emotional support tiger. Shit. You can get away with emotional support peacocks, emotional support pigs, emotional support monkeys, emotional support miniature horses. What the f***? Even emotional support kangaroos. I feel like the miniature horse is more intense. Kangaroos are pretty crazy, but miniature horse? How miniature is it? It's like My Little Pony, motherfucker.
He's not a pony, Ben. He's a mini horse. There's a big difference.
While many applaud the initiative, some critics have begun to ponder if this is all just descended into a competition to see who can legitimately get the craziest animal sitting next to them in the cabin. Personally, I don't really see much of a problem, and I'd probably rather just be sitting next to a kangaroo than a screaming baby. Yeah, I just don't really I'm not the biggest animal fan. I'm one of those people who, because I don't have a dog, I didn't grow up having a dog. When you go to someone's house who has a dog, you're like, you got a dog. And it's an unpleasant smell because you haven't got used to it. Whereas, I don't want that on a plane. I don't want any of this. It's weird.
Daddy, chill.
But even the TSA has limits. One Florida woman was booted off a plane in Orlando when staff realized that her emotional support animal was a squirrel. The woman had already explained beforehand that she would be bringing along her emotional support animal, but the staff hadn't realized that it would be a squirrel, and unfortunately, rodents are banned from most US flights. I didn't know a squirrel was a rodent. The more you know. The woman went nuts, that when she was told to disembark from the plane and reportedly refused to leave, which meant that the flight was delayed by 2 hours until police were called to firmly show her the exit. Good. If they ask you to leave the plane, leave the plane. And whilst emotional support pigs usually get a good press, it seems that not all pigs were meant to fly. During the incident in Bradley International Airport in Connecticut in 2014, a passenger's emotional support pig went on a minor rampage, everywhere down the aisle and then howling in distress when the owner tied him to the armrest. Yes, this is the problem. Is your dog taking a shit on a plane? What the f*** are we doing?
Enough is enough! I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane!
Both passenger and pig were evicted from the plane, which thankfully hadn't taken off yet, and as that would have been a bit harsh otherwise, but again, the passenger kicked up a big stink before the matter was eventually resolved. She should have just gone with an emotional support lobster called Derek, or maybe just a couple of snakes, yes, and then we would literally have snakes on a plane. This has been an episode of Brain Blaze. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time, yes.
Everybody strap in! We're about to open some fucking windows.